Everybody, it's Shannon from Alphtrends.net. Today is Friday, the 1st of March, 2024, and we've got a great start to the month. Already last month was a great one. It was supposed to be negative, the people who will tell you about seasonality, and while that may be the tendency, it wasn't what happened this month. And you can only trade based on what matters at the end of the day, which is price action. Look at these gains. For the week, 22%, Bitcoin, Ethereum, 16%. Biotech 7%, semis 6%, just amazing moves here. If you're not making money, then you're doing something wrong, clearly, because this market is really one of the best bull markets we've seen in a while, and it doesn't look like it's trying to slow down at all. We had a little bit of trouble below the anchored volume weighted average price from the prior peak right here. And once we got back above that after the PCE information, then the market really kind of took off and really exaggerated that today. So we remain in a bullish uptrend. I get cautious. There's no doubt. I get cautious when it gets down in these areas and below that anchor, but I certainly don't get bearish. I'm not going to get bearish when we have a rising 20, 50, 100, 200-day moving average. To get bearish in an environment like this, you truly don't understand trend trading or trends in general, because the trend is higher. The trend is your friend. Just know where your stops are. If we break below key levels and your stocks are breaking down, well, you've got to simply get out of them. You can't stick around for stocks like snow that just get crushed like this. There are still disasters out there, but when you look at the NASDAQ, just another breakout here, another break past resistance. There was no double top there. We got a little bit cautious. I got a little bit cautious because I thought, hey, we broke a new high. Now we're pulling back a little bit. We closed below the 5-day moving average, but the 5-day moving average was rising. We gapped up, got back above the volume weighted average price from that gap, and it was off to the races once again. If you're bearish in here, again, how can you be bearish when this market does nothing go up? Trying to short in this environment is no different than trying to buy in this environment. It just doesn't make sense. The trend truly is your friend. Some of the stocks that I had mentioned on Twitter recently, QTWO, QRVO, I don't know why I keep making that mistake, because Q2 looks actually pretty good too, but QRVO looking like it's breaking to a new stage 2 uptrend. This is one that I wouldn't be surprised 6-9 months down the road, you see it up near 150, 160. They've got some good growth numbers as well. Take a look at them. The trend is just beginning, in my opinion, for a stock like this. SANM, we were involved in this one. I put this one on Twitter as well. Over here, saying a stop below this level. This did not stop us out. Here's why. I never set a stop before the market opens. I always give it 5 minutes after the open. If it makes a new low after those 5 minutes, so my stop was right here. If you had set your stop, you would have been stopped out. But when you look at the 5-minute candle here, you can see the low was made in the first 5 minutes. I raised my stop under there, and I'm still holding this stock, and hopefully you are as well. Hopefully you didn't get shaken out on that. That's something that I am always telling Alphtrends subscribers. Never set your stops before the market opens unless you want your stock stolen from you. And then if it gaps down below the level that was supposed to be your stop, well, then adjust. Give it at least 5 minutes to recover, because you can see after that failed breakdown came this fast move higher, and it's got a good-looking weekly chart that looks like it should be able to continue. I'd also mention Guess Jeans, and in Guess Jeans, it still looks good for the long term, but it's not a technology stock. It's not the type of stock that's going to have a big run. We bought it over here. Sold a third of it right there, got stopped out on this day after the first 5-minute low. So if we look at the 5-minute low, you can see on this day, that was your 5-minute low right there. And I got stopped out right here. Overall, it was a gain of about, I think, 5-6 cents per share. But the bottom line is, because I took that first third off with a gain up in here, I always sell some to strength, then the whole position was still profitable. Not a big one, but at least I didn't lose money, and I don't like to lose money. I don't know about you. Let's take a look at the Russell 2000. That one continues to just kind of grind higher. It's not really in this really nice trend the way the other markets are. It's been a lot choppier, and I don't really like the personality of this, so I'm not trading the Russell 2000. I'm trading a lot of stocks in the Russell 2000, but this choppy action speculation is just simply not for me. It's not something I'm interested in. The trend is, however, your friend. So if you're long, this to me looks like the place to set a stop below. A lot of people say, someone just asked me today, actually on Stan Mina, saying they had their stop set 8% away. 8% stop, I mean, it's better than no stop at all. But what you want to do is look at the definition of trend. Higher highs and higher lows. Set your stop underneath the most recent and relevant higher low. As the stock pulls back and makes another higher high, then you raise your stop up underneath that higher low, and then the market tells you when to get out, not random percentages. That just doesn't make sense. That's something that was taught, decades ago that doesn't really apply anymore. Semiconductors, I forgot what the number was year to date, but these are clearly the leaders in this market. They were the first to break out, if you recall, up 26% this year so far in just 2 months. Last year, there were 60%, something like that. Just crazy performance, and this shows you why you don't sell short uptrends. This is clearly leading the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is trailing behind the semiconductors, but still there is so much strength in this market all over the place. Biotechs are doing what they're supposed to do. They came up to this prior level. They blasted through it. Now it looks like they're going to close in on that 108, 110 level. This is something I've been talking about bullishly, and it continues to behave real well after breaking out of this little bullish flag right in there. And the trend remains your friend. If you're long in here, I think you set your stop underneath this low. This was a nice little shakeout low, came down below the rising 5-day moving average. And now that if it breaks back below that, then it's likely it will pull back a little bit deeper. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen, but you have to always prepare for the what ifs. What if it breaks below that level and something happens like this? Well, then it might come down to the 20-day moving average, or it might need to just turn sideways for a week, 2 weeks, and then you can buy it again. That's what swing trading is about, and that's the time frame I'm always talking about. Financials just continue to grind higher. There was just no slowing down in this group, and again, the people who are talking about bearish seasonality, advanced declines, divergences, etc. It doesn't matter. It truly doesn't. Those are reasons to be concerned maybe and look at the market and say, hey, I'm going to raise my stops, maybe raise a little bit of cash, but you're missing out on the greatest part of the bull market. The best part comes in, it's like the Pareto principle, that 20% of your gain or 80% of your returns come from 20% of your results. Well, we're in the 20% right now. Don't give up in this part of the market. Sure, you're going to experience a pullback on a gap down morning, and they're going to scare you out of your stock. But if it continues to turn back higher, well, then you were the fool for selling it. Truthfully, you've got to have a strategy for if it gaps down, give it that first 5 minutes and then reassess and see what the market is telling you. If it starts breaking down, it starts breaking down. It only ends badly for those who aren't prepared. Know where your stops are. Financials look like they're headed for all-time highs. Energy names are finally starting to break higher here as well. Let's take a look at the energy chart. And here is oil. We've been talking about this, and this was our prior band of support in here. This is crude oil, and it turned to resistance, pulled right back. And recall, we spoke about it over here because they're saying that it looks like it needs a pullback right here. Go back 3 weeks, and you'll see I said that because it had run into this prior band of support and the anchored VWAP off of this high. We came down, made a higher low, consolidate a little bit. Now we're making a run from the anchored volume weighted average price from last year's high. And after that, so this is the July of 22 high. And then we have the March, April of last year. Look, even gold is moving higher. I don't know where I have it on this chart, but even gold is moving higher in this market. It's just one of those environments. Here's gold. And gold is maybe going to break higher. It's like the least tradable asset from a swing trade perspective in my mind. You've got so many false moves, but look at the longer term base on this thing. These are years. This is 2020 right here. Let's talk about something more interesting, which is Bitcoin, which just continues to defy the skeptics, and it's running up maybe in front of the halvening event, and that happens I think in April. So apparently it's going to continue bullishly, seasonally wise, for a little bit until that occurs. I'm going to look at it this way. As long as we make higher highs and higher lows, then it's bullish. I don't care what the seasonality tells me. I'm going to base all of my thoughts and my decisions based on price action. Same is true with Ethereum. Ethereum's in this beautiful uptrend. It's been riding this rising 5-day moving average. There's just so much opportunity out there in this market. Even, Nvidia continued to make new all-time highs here again today. Hopefully you're participating. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe to this video and check out alphatrends.net. And as always, if you're not following me on Twitter or X, you're missing out on a whole bunch.